Shut the fuck up. You all kissing my ass. The good thing is you don't have to be fucking silent in this part. That's new. Yeah. Yep. You shoot stuff. Pow pow. Pow pow pow. Hey, you shut up, enthusiast. Get ready, guys. Get ready.
This is legitimately professional.
All right, everybody. Welcome. How's everybody doing tonight?
Very well.
Excellent.
Good.
Right,
I'm excited.
I am too. Let's do this. All right, everyone. Welcome to LMG Live, the gaming and media podcast from lmgamers.net, a community of over 700 adult players. Tonight, we're giving you the hottest information on the latest game, so boot up, log in, and enjoy the show. I'm your host, Adam12, with our co-host here, King Dawes. We've got Sectator Gaming up there, just call him Sectator, if you will. And the Poop Shizzle, who is absent tonight. He's actually streaming, as you can see, from his car.
Dedication.
Down by the river.
He's in a van down by the river, so we've got him here. Big week this week. We've got Venom the movie coming out. We've got Assassin's Creed Odyssey is here. We've got Forza Horizon 4 that's already out. Black Ops 4 finally is here, coming out next week. And then, finally here. But yeah, coming out next week.
It's coming.
I know I'm really excited about it. Played the beta, had a good time doing that. A lot of good things on the horizon for sure. So, what are you looking forward to, King?
What am I looking forward to? Man, Venom looks so good. I can't wait. I'm ready for a little bit of a little expansion into the DC Marvel universe. I'm all about it.
Cool. Sectator, how about you? What do you feel like?
Looking forward to Black Ops 4. They got Battle Royale mode coming out. It's probably going to break Twitch for the first couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Might push these indie developers to try a little harder.
Can't mail it in anymore.
And Poop Shizzle, how about you?
I'm with you, King. I really like the way that Venom's starting to frame up. Venom, if you do the comic books, it's a really dark comic, and I'm excited to see what they do with that on the screen. I didn't really like the way they did it with the Sony version of Spider-Man. But I'm really excited about that. And I'm also excited about Assassin's Creed. I jumped off of Assassin's Creed about Unity when that was a piece of garbage. And I really enjoyed what it looks like so far with Odyssey. The marketing campaign I was on board with up until I saw the freaking Alexa. Or what was that home device that they're putting out there? Is it the Google Home?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That looks just like it. So, yeah, I'm excited about those two things mainly.
Well, all of us are pretty much old hat here, but we got a new fella here. Sectator. Welcome to the podcast, man. So glad you're
Thanks for having me.
We got a bunch of stuff set up for you, I think. What do you want to talk about here? What's your deal, man?
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it, concise, but still a lot of points to hit. If you guys been playing any of the Fortnite Season 6 that just dropped last week, the new season?
I played a little bit on my phone today, actually.
Okay.
I've never played a game of Fortnite in my life.
You are probably one of two people that I know.
One of very few.
I'm the other one.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of news coming out with Fortnite. So kind of to recap, for those of you that don't know, there was a mysterious cube that had kind of appeared throughout Season 5, kind of moved across the map, leaving little glyphs across the way. Finally, at the end of Season 5, it fell into the giant loot lake, and then it kind of converted the whole lake into a purple gel. And then as of Season 6, when it rolled over, the floating island in the sky, it's called, so the main island in Fortnite kind of started floating above the ground. And now it started moving, so that's kind of pretty cool. If you go onto the Fortnite Reddits, it's moving about the same pace as the cube was, which is about every hour and 43 minutes. It moves a tiny bit, but there's a bunch of theory crafters out there trying to predict and figure out what's going on with that. So that's pretty big Fortnite news. And then update 6.01 dropped today, so the first official update. Two pretty important things. They came out with a new trap. It's called the Chiller Trap. Basically, it slows players affected, causing them to lose traction, kind of slide around a little bit. And then this is the big one. They made a female anatomy graphics update.
Uh-oh.
Because
yes,
I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a glitch on Fortnite with the new graphics patch that caused the dance animations to make parts of the female anatomy jiggle, and they weren't intending it to.
Can we talk about which parts? Because I'm really interested in this.
The chest region, my man.
yes.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I to this day don't know how something like that is called an accident. You have to.
Have you ever played a Tomb Raider game ever?
I was actually thinking about playing it now.
Laura
Yeah.
Croft puts that.
I don't remember what it looks like.
Dead or Alive 2 beach volleyball?
Yeah.
But as you guys can imagine, this being targeted towards kids and young children, parents were outraged at this, and they quickly put through a patch with the new update today to kind of fix that out. So,
Hey, Secretary, what's the median age of the players of Fortnite? Do you know?
Single digits.
people make the joke that it's like the modern day Call of Duty, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, but there's actually a wide variety. I think 15 of the top Fortnite streamers on Twitch are over the age of 20, 22. But you're probably looking at in the mid-teens, 14, 15-year-old kids playing.
You mean there's other streamers other than Ninja?
Other than Ninja, yeah.
The only one I know. So,
So we in the know like to call it the children murder sim.
yes.
Call 'em what?
The children murder simulator.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
That's where you play it.
Yeah, it's like,
Well, now those kids are going to have to go back to the other parts of the internet to find their boobies.
I know, right?
Poor kids.
Not allowed anymore. that one mom wrote an angry letter and ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
She wanted to speak to the manager, and she got her way.
Actually, you could probably blame Tim the Tapman for ruining it, I believe.
How's that?
He was streaming with Ninja, and Ninja's doing in the daytime. If you guys didn't know, Ninja does a family-friendly stream, and then in the evening he does like Ninja at night. And it was during his day stream, and Tim the Tapman said, "Hey, do me a favor, go play this specific dance animation." And Ninja spent like 5 minutes looking for it, and it was an animation where the character jumps up and down. And, so he's like, "Oh, that's new. That wasn't in season 5." And then Ninja panicked real quick to try and find the dancing animation, and it was that character jumping up and down, and the boobs are jumping with it. So, thanks, Tim. That is why we can't have nice things.
Bummer.
Yeah. So that's all the things in news of Fortnite.
Okay.
So we can. Yeah. So PUBG is finally trying to be relevant in the battle royale simulator mode. So
I've never heard of this. What's it called?
yeah. This is actually painful for me. I got to be honest with you guys. PUBG being considered the underdog in the story. If you guys didn't know, I started streaming PUBG with the first game I ever streamed. But some of the updates went live yesterday. So if you guys didn't understand or know, they're still trying to stop cheaters from cheating in PUBG. This has been a 1-year battle, I think, as of today. But this is the first system that was made within PUBG. So it was not outsourced. It's not a third party. This is developed and housed within the programmers of PUBG. The last few third-party properties have caused frame rate drops. They haven't really worked. They've banned random people who weren't even cheating. But the trick to this is now it needs to be enabled once the game is launched. So you can choose to enable the frame rate drop anti-cheat measure, or you can choose to allow people with heat-sinking cheat codes and flying cars to find you in a battle royale game.
Is that what happened with Shroud?
Yeah. He jumped into a flying car, got banned.
That's a little crazy to me. That's a little crazy.
Yeah, well, so the thing is like he didn't type in the cheat codes, but because he's the biggest face of PUBG and he jumped into the car of one of his stream snipers, they banned him. So, yeah, I think he got his account back by now. It was only a 30-day ban. He actually had to participate in the PUBG Invitational on a Smurf account, which was kind of funny.
Nice.
Yeah. But they're also, doing some new things as well, new ranking systems. So those of you that are competitive like me, They're coming out with a new system, 8 total ranks. You have to play 10 placement matches, similar to like League of Legends or Heroes of the Storms or any MOBA. After those 10 placement matches, you'll earn your first rank, and then kills and placements move your ranking up or down. So that was implemented, I believe, as of yesterday. So that's actually pretty big. A lot of people have been asking for that in the competitive scene, trying to get that going. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, PUBG implemented a new skin trading system where you can take your crappy skins that you spent money on, and if you get like 500 of the same crappy skin, you can now upgrade it into a slightly less crappy skin. So that's pretty cool as well. So PUBG is still relevant, fellas, in case you didn't know. They're still trying to make changes.
I like that infusion method.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I mean, the loot boxes are so garbage for such a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, I mean, they probably took inspiration from, Destiny 2, seeing the success of that, and break down your crappy weapons to power up. So, I mean, it seems to be similar to that same mindset. But
Does it still require keys and all that stuff to unlock those crates?
oh yeah, microtransactions are here to stay.
Yeah, I just didn't know if they were going to loosen that up, because that was a big point of contention for the community, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think there was more of a just embrace the hate and kind of keep it there.
Just go with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive. Everybody does loot crates, but theirs is a little bit more expensive. But I think it's because they needed the help on the back end to help stabilize their servers. They ran out of money.
And that seems risky.
Weren't they raking in like millions of dollars?
Yeah, and then their viewership on Twitch and sponsorship got cut in half. Yeah,
Fortnite came out and
yeah, and we're playing a 2018 games that can't hit 60 frames per second on the most powerful computers out there. So, yeah.
So some of those big streamers are like really like I saw Summit uninstall.
Yeah, oh yeah,
On
after the
stream.
tournament. Yeah, Dr. Disrespect hosted a Mountain Dew sponsored or Dorito sponsored, I think it's called a Red tournament, and it was really glitchy and laggy. He literally finished his tournament, shut his stream off halfway through the tournament, came back on about 2 hours later, apologized for his fans, said, "You guys don't deserve to watch a crappy game like this," then deleted it, and then he went on and played something else. So some pretty big streamers just done with it. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Really bad for marketing.
Absolutely.
Not good. I mean, the 3 biggest names are Summit 1G, Shroud, and Dr. Disrespect. And Shroud's been playing Rainbow Six Siege, and Summit 1G uninstalled on stream. So
Now, I know Shroud and Doctor have like personalized loot in the game. Does Shroud or does Summit?
no, I think it's because Summit he's never been a big name on PUBG, whereas like Shroud has been bought into the affiliate program, and so is Dr. Disrespect.
Gotcha.
But Summit 1G is just more of a variety streamer. So
Gotcha.
for sure. So yeah, 2 more games. You guys ready?
Yeah,
Talk through these?
Let's do it.
So have you guys heard of a game called Mavericks?
I have actually.
Okay. So this is actually it's a new BR developed by Automaton. It offers a nice change to kind of like a really watered down genre right now. So you actually start with gear, a heavy sniper and a 9mm pistol. And there's a lot of really cool details. So if you fall below 25% health, you actually leave a trail of blood that other people can follow. And it's there for 60 seconds. And then after 60 seconds, it goes away, or you can heal yourself back up. And right now they're boasting, when the game launches, it's actually 400 player lobbies, not 100 player lobbies.
Oh my god.
And they're working towards server stabilization because they want an end goal of 1,000 player lobbies.
That's ridiculous.
So this game went closed alpha back in August. It was set to launch the end of September, and 2 days before launch, they actually made a blog post saying they're pushing the launch date back 2 full months. So that created a huge set of outrage, obviously, for a bunch of people that pre-ordered the game, that bought into it. They got the developers packs to the point where a big chunk of people are actually getting refunds fully issued because they were no longer interested and stuff like that. So it's to be expected, though. I mean, PUBG has left a lot of fans skeptical. PUBG continued to grow, more and more people deciding to go back to that BR instead of embracing some of the newer ideas that aren't perfected yet. So you got all these third-party. There was another BR that came out a couple months ago. It was more of like a 1980s theme. Those servers closed down. So you're seeing, PUBG starting to get their poop in a group and starting to get themselves leveled up a little bit higher, and companies don't want to play with this anymore. So Mavericks could be in trouble right off the bat, which is kind of sad.
Was that Radical Heights you were referring to?
It was Radical Heights that I was referring to.
That game actually looked pretty cool.
It looked cool, and then they did a tournament and then something happened with the tournament, and like it didn't get a lot of viewership, and they were hoping for it to sell pre-orders, and they ended up having to shut down servers.
That's too bad.
So, and that long laundry list leads us to the final game, which is the AAA BR that's going to hopefully save the genre, and that's Blackout. Did any of you guys?
Minecraft. Oh no, sorry.
Ah, man.
So close. Yeah, almost.
So close. Any of you playing the Blackout open beta?
I did, yes. I did play.
Okay. What'd you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I think it's a good mix between where PUBG and Fortnite kind of mix and meet, and you don't have to build.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been described as the way PUBG should be by a lot of big streamers. PUBG focuses on realism, Fortnite focuses on cartoony land. Blackout's kind of right in the middle, but it's also implementing some cool new things as well. It's going to further force the evolution of the genre. So, it launches October 12th. Adam, I think you were hinting at that at the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's already being labeled as a PUBG killer, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It's the first AAA-backed Battle Royale, and fans went absolutely crazy for open beta. So I was pulling some stats for an article I'm writing for LMG's website, and Fortnite averages about 150,000 average viewers during the peak times. During the weekend, the full weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Blackout had 161,000 viewers on average. Wow. So it's coming up already as something that's going to be pushing and competing with Fortnite right off the bat. And the other cool thing that it adds together is there's classes. So each class has a special ability, which is kind of cool, which further develops the replayability. And then there's also, if you guys have played Call of Duty, they have a bunch of multiplayer maps. And all of those multiplayer maps actually make up the Battle Royale map. Oh, cool. So you've got Nuketown that you can drop. So as you're playing, you're going to see the multiplayer maps throughout the map. So it's pretty.
Means the snow maps will be in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It plays it out.
I'm so excited.
We're dropping in the snow, boy.
Oh, I'm getting in that car, man. I'm getting that damn car.
Yeah, so it's actually really cool. And then, I guess as you kill people, they turn into zombies. So they're embracing their zombie mode. So I guess there was a couple of clips that I saw on Twitch where they dropped somebody, they got pinned down from behind, they turned around to fight the people, and they turned around again to see the zombie raise up and run at them. I was like, all right, Call of Duty, now you're just messing. But out of all of this, the one who wins is Battlefield 5 because they have a Battle Royale mode as well, and they're just sitting back and watching what does Call of Duty have to offer. They launch a month and a half after.
Yeah, I think they got burned a lot by the tier thing, though. The Battle Royale, you got to get the highest tier. People are pissed about that. We'll just have to see how that goes.
Yeah. EA microtransactions, that doesn't make sense.
The thing about Black Ops that I liked a lot is that, back when Ghost was out, when you killed somebody, you heard the last 2 seconds of their comms.
Oh, yeah.
Choice words. Choice words. You found out who your mother was sleeping with very quickly.
All right.
That's all the Battle Royale news I have.
Oh, very good. All right. Okay. You know what? Our favorite least is here, King Dawes, everyone. Why don't you teach us how to get good, King?
Hey, man, that's what I'm here for. So, I'm not sure if anybody's aware, but Destiny just came out with a small expansion called Forsaken. Destiny 2 is in a tough spot. Wasn't getting the most traffic out of all the games out there right now.
I stopped playing.
Yes, I did as well. Yeah, took a little break from Destiny. Curse of Osiris and Warmind were just terrible expansions. So then Forsaken came out. Forsaken, if anyone is following the Destiny series, is akin to like the Taken King in size and scope. And so it's a big expansion. It was like 100 gigs. It was big. 40 gigs. The whole game's 100. So it was huge. It was a huge expansion. Everything came out, new exotics, new weapons, new way that weapons are set up. There's no more dual primaries. It's actually you can run a special primary and a heavy, which is like the D1 weapon system. So what came with that is a complete meta shift. And if people are familiar with the term meta, it's just what the most effective tool is that you can use for any instance. What I want to talk about right now is currently in the game, there's certain exotics that are out there that synergize really well with either abilities or class items or anything like that. And they're a little overpowered. So my take on the whole thing, is if you're not playing the meta, you're not doing it right. I don't care if you think you're cool and running your foggy notion and your little sidearm. It's not going to work. If you're not using a meta weapon, meta gear, you're going to be bad. So currently out right now, there's gauntlets for the Titans, the Ursa gauntlets. What that does is it takes your Sentinel, the new Sentinel class, which is a big shield that you carry around. Any damage that's incoming to you, even just primary ammo damage, gives you a vast majority of your super back. And once you get to a certain point, it's not a lot of damage. You get your super back completely. So there's Titans in the game right now that are. I think I saw one game. It was like 12 or 13 supers in one game, back to back. And during that, you can still use all your cool Titan abilities. So they're just dumb overpowered right now. And another one for the Warlocks out there, Controverse Holds. Basically, what this does is the new Nova Lock subclass. You get a handheld Supernova, which is just a one-shot short-range grenade. It's very powerful. Good for countering shotguns, which is in the meta right now. Everybody's running around with shotguns. So if you're interested in combating that Nova little burst does a good job. The Controverse Holds, what they do is same kind of thing as like the Titan exotic. If you hit with that Nova, you don't even have to kill. If you hit with that little short-range Nova, it gives you a random portion of your grenade back. Normally it's around like a third or a half, but it also can give you 100% of your grenade energy back. So what a lot of people are doing is just running around with that, putting five stack ordnance mods on their armor. And if you don't get all of your grenade energy back with that ability, you'll get it back in 10-15 seconds after that. So cool synergy in that one. Another one I would talk about is Skullfort. This is a D1 exotic, actually. Insurmountable Skullfort is a helmet for the Titans. Anybody that's played Destiny ever has been shoulder charged by a Titan and not been happy about it. Recently just became a one-shot kill again. At the beginning of D2, it was a two-shot, which is dumb. It is a one-shot again, and with the Skullfort, you get all of your melee energy back, which allows you to shoulder charge again and chain all kinds of sadness throughout the map. So a couple exotics there that are interesting. I don't know. I know Adam's on the PC side of Destiny. I play on Xbox. Have you noticed any kind of metas out there or any kind of exotics that you're seeing more of?
Not really. I mean, I haven't been as deeply into it as most people. I get a few hours, each week. But not yet. But I mean, I haven't done the raid yet, so I'm sure there are things there. I've heard about there's something for the Warlocks apparently that when you stick the healing rift as their super in, there's something there that works really well. Insurmountable Skullfort I've heard about being really good for the raid as well. But nothing particular that I'm seeing just as far as like PvP goes.
And you are a anti-meta player. Adam is one of those folks that I call not doing it right. Adam will play with anything, and he does actually pretty well with it. So
I enjoy it. I enjoy breaking things.
Yes. So another thing I wanted to cover real quick was the wish wall in the raid. So I've done the raid twice now. It's awesome. In my opinion, the best raid they've done. When it first came out, everyone was kind of thinking it'd be like every other Destiny raid, and people were going in at a recommended light level of 550. People were going in at 530, 520, and they found out very quickly that is a bad choice. 580 is the first room, and it is a strong 580, and it ramps up all the way from there. It's quite the experience. And so in the raid, there's a little secret area you can get to. It's called the wish wall. It's a giant wall with many little symbols on it. You shoot the symbols and it changes what's on the wall. Recently today, the 13th wish has been found, which is interesting because there are a lot of triumphs in the game which are just end game material that reward you for doing certain things. And one of them was for doing the raid in a Petra's run mode, and nobody knew what that meant. And so with this 13th wish, what it does is when you activate the wish, any death, one death in your whole fire team sends the whole team to orbit. Start over.
Wow. Oh, gross.
It's tough. And there are people that haven't even done the raid yet, meaning they started and you get wiped as soon as you get in there. And so few people have done it. Redeem just did it today. I think T1 just did it. And So good for them. They're running a flawless raid, and it doesn't give you anything loot-wise, but it does give you that triumph, which helps you unlock the Riven's Bane title, which is nice, be a very, very elite title. Not many people will have that. So with the wish wall, it's pretty cool. There's quite a few different wishes that are on there, ranging anywhere from teleporting you to loot boxes to emblems, teleporting you to different encounters in the raid, so you can skip 3/4 of the way through the raid. There's also some cool ones in there where I'm not sure if everyone remembers the Grunt birthday party Easter egg from Halo.
Yeah.
Pop their head. Yay! So that is in there. I believe that is the 7th or 8th wish. You can activate that throughout the whole raid. From that point on, you have Grunt birthday party. There's also a fun Easter egg.
Every kill grant the pop.
Every headshot. Pop. Yay! So it's fun. It's a good throwback for all the Bungie fans that remember. And yes, and so another one is Failsafe, who's one of the NPC characters. She's a ship, an AI. She gets a body, which is actually your body, so she takes control of your body with the wish wall. So it's pretty cool stuff. Another thing I wanted to cover, last subject I wanted to go over, was I was going to get a kind of community poll with everybody here, maybe in chat if people want to weigh in. Certain weapons in the game that are kind of pinnacle weapons in their activity. Wish Ender, which is an exotic bow, comes from a dungeon in the game, it's a pretty difficult. There's some 590 enemies in there, so you have to be up there to actually do that dungeon. Malfeasance is a cool hand cannon. Everyone thought it was going to be the coolest thing ever. It's going to be Thorn 2.0. It's going to be end all be all. I'm not as impressed with it as everybody seems to be. I think it's a little weak, to be honest with you. And the little explosions kind of crappy. But that comes from a RNG, very, very low percentage chance drop. There's a boss in the end of Gambit when you summon your Primeval. It's Riven's eyeball. And if you get that, kill it before the other team kills theirs, you get the Malfeasance quest, which ends up giving you the Malfeasance. And the last two that are kind of these pinnacle weapons, but on the PvP side, would be Luna's Howl, which was all jazzed up in the reveal stream. 3-tap hand cannons, it's very nice. And then Redrick's Broadsword, which is the Claymore of Year 2. If you didn't get your Claymore in Year 1, that is too bad because you're not a super grindy person. But now it's just a quest. It's not an easy quest, but it's still more accessible than it was. And the Broadsword, a lot of people are saying, is a little bit better than Claymore because it can have a random roll perk on it. So
can you still get your Claymore or no?
No Claymores, that's done. Broadsword is it. Yeah, that was a season reward. So now Luna is the season reward. And my kind of question I wanted to bounce off you and everybody in chat was, how is everybody feeling about these pinnacle rewards? Do you think it's exclusionary? Do you think only these top tier guys are going to have these weapons? With Luna and Broadsword, you have to play some PvP and you have to play a lot of good PvP to get it. And people were upset about the whole Ace of Spades thing, having a PvP element tied to it to get the Ace of Spades. Well, these are literally PvP exclusive weapons.
I think I remember my biggest complaint. So I played World of Warcraft forever, long time, and there's a lot of grind in that game. And I think one of my biggest complaints with Destiny 1 and even in the beginning Destiny 2 vanilla was there wasn't enough grinding. You can just literally log on for 3 or 4 hours, maybe run a raid once, and then be done for the week until the reset. So I personally like the idea of being able to grind. It looks like Surge is kind of thinking the same way in chat, but I like the idea of a grind. It lets you players that want to invest hours and hours and hours into a game, gives them the opportunity to, and want people that don't want the gear, they don't have to do it.
True.
Yeah, I like how Destiny has brought back a healthy amount of being jealous of people that have done the kick-ass things, the hardest things. I honestly think Vanilla D2 caused us to be too much of a gimme kind of community. and it catered a lot to the casuals. Which I mean, I understand why Bungie did it,
The
and
filthy casuals.
and they recognize their folly, and they're adjusting it now. But they're also going to deal with the backlash of those that were able to get those top tier things that can't. And I'm all for it. I mean, I actually like how difficult they've made the challenges. The challenges in vanilla D1 were tough, like Flawless Raider and some of those higher end things. Yeah, Skull. Oh my God, Skull. But there needs to be things there that the elite get. I have no problem with that. I'm totally okay with not having every single thing in the game. I'm okay with that.
I feel like, Destiny shot themselves in the foot when they came at us and said that, this game is for casuals.
Yeah.
That, everybody can come home and play during the day and just have fun. That pissed me off unendingly. The thing that I loved about Destiny 1 was the random weeklies, Black Spindle Quest. No time to explain. What was the Warmind one where you had to guess the different patterns of the puzzles to get the... Was it Sleeper?
Sleeper.
Yeah, Sleeper.
Yeah, that was Sleeper.
Waiting for public events.
Yeah, and all that stuff. I mean, I thought
War sat down.
The best part of Destiny. Like I really, really like that part of it. And now, I guess they had the streamer convention. Got everybody to talk, and they've actually made it better. So, I'm all for it.
Yep.
I think one reason that I keep going back to WoW just because that's the MMO that everybody has to usurp, right? That's the one that's been king for forever. The one thing they do really well is they find a nice balance between elitist gamers and casual gamers. There's a nice balance there. Destiny 1, they focused on casuals, kind of like Adam said. They came out and said, this is a game for casuals. Well, that just... Everybody who wants an experience or a longevity of a game has, it's not there. So I think Destiny has a lot of potential, and that they can figure out how to balance that out.
Yep.
They can be a force to be reckoned with, but I mean, I don't know.
That was the problem with D2 when it first launched. They got rid of random rolls and weapons, so any better devils that drops is going to be the same better devils that drops for everyone.
Yeah.
Same thing with every weapon. If a weapon drops, it's got the roll. Like Poop said earlier, there's a reason to be jealous again because random rolls are back. So if I get a Duke to drop for me that has Rampage Outlaw on it, I'm the cat's ass. If Adam has one with crappy roll, he's going to be jealous of mine and keep grinding. So I think that alone was a huge step to bring people back into Destiny, the random roll grind. The whole reason we're here is the looter shooter aspect. We want the loot. I want the best loot, and that comes from grinding. And so the problem, I believe, with Destiny 2 when it first launched was Bungie heard, we hear you, that was their big tagline. They heard all the loudest voices, which were the casual folks, and they turned Destiny 2 into a more casual focused game, which wasn't a bad thing for them. I'm sure in their mind that's what, hey, this is what all you guys wanted. And it launched and everything was easy to get. I think I had all the Destiny 2 exotics shortly after launch. Exotics dropped like crazy. Now I've played 100 plus hours of Forsaken, and I've had like 2 or 3 exotics drop. So
yeah, it's considerably harder to get exotics.
It's meaningful now when you get an exotic. And then after I got my second Suros regime, I got quite upset with the system. But so yeah, I'm good. I'm glad everybody here is in agreement that Destiny should have some aspect of not necessarily elitism, but top tier rewards. Like give me something that I actually want to be the best at and play my best PvP or play my super hard PvE content and get rewarded for it. Because in Destiny 2 at the beginning, there was no point in doing anything super hard. I mean, how many times have you killed Callus just to get the same Midnight Coup? Great, that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
But now when I'm going in, I'm hunting for like that super nice kill clip ambitious assassin Apex Predator rocket. Like that's hot. And now, especially with the curated rolls that are coming out, there's certain weapons. Every raid weapon has a curated roll, which is Bungie's version of a god roll. So the raid hand cannon rolls with Outlaw Firefly. There's cool stuff. The auto rifle has Rampage and Triple Double. I don't think that's the actual name of it. It's a super nice perk. So it's giving people actually something that they want to grind end game content for.
It's like what they said. It's a hobby again.
Exactly. So, I'm coming home and I'm thinking, well, shit, what's Banshee selling? I know he's selling a new gun mod. I have to go in. I have to do my dailies. I have to go and do my weeklies. I want to get everything done on Tuesday because there's a refresh every day on the daily bounties, which give powerful engrams. So what I saw was a lot of people were saying there's actually too much to do now, which is a good problem to have.
Oh, hella good problem. I had to create a spreadsheet just to list out every possible power engram option and maximize my efficiency with my limited gaming time.
Yeah. So like I said,
I'm not ashamed for that, and I'm happy about that. That makes me excited because now I'm like picking and choosing like what do I want to tackle, and it gives me a way to play the game my way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody is going in there and saying, I only have an hour tonight to throw into Destiny. Well, go in there, do your 2 dailies, you'll get your powerful gear, move on. Then there's streamers that they put in 8, 10, 12 hours a day. There's guys out there that have 600 characters right now. Great, good for them. I myself just started my 3rd character. I think all my characters are in the 580s, and I'm fine with that right now. But it's. I think they've given everybody in each dedication level something to look forward to.
Then you got people that have 3 characters fully leveled on both platforms.
Yes.
Nobody comes to mind from LMG.
No,
looking at you, Surge.
Yeah, those folks are scared of the sun. Hey.
That's awesome. All right. I'll go on the Destiny front. You liking everything just overall? You're happy? Happy fella?
Very, very happy.
Hey, King, I got one question. I want to know. I want everybody's opinion on Sleeper right now.
I love it.
It's great. Keep it like it is. Don't mess with it.
Gambit.
It's hard enough to get.
So, yeah, Sleeper's an endgame weapon. It's a hell of a grind to get it. You got to go to the Warmind area and grind out all these Sleeper nodes. Is it the most powerful gun in Gambit right now? Hell yeah. It one-shots everyone if you shoot them in the toe or the head. It shoots down supers if you're hitting them in the head. The aim assist on it right now is very high. They're actually toning it down. The Sleeper nerf is not hit yet. People are saying, well, it doesn't feel like Sleeper's changed at all because it hasn't. Sleeper has not been touched. But when it does, I think you'll notice a little bit of a dip. People will start to switch more to skill weapons, snipers, maybe a grenade launcher in there if you're crazy and you're sick of getting your edge transits. But, Sleeper is great for damaging primevals. It's even better for killing guardians. So I see no problem with Sleeper. That's part of the meta. I'm going to use it.
Nice. All right. Well, one of the biggest aspects of LMG, the League of Mature Gamers for us, is streaming. A lot of us. My go-to for all things streaming is related to the great Oz of entertainment, Mr. Poop Shizzle. Dump on me, dump on us, your riches, sir.
I see the poop joke there. Nicely done. Hey, first and foremost, I want to just say that my audio is very limited today. I'm actually podcasting from my wife's car in the garage. So if my mic cuts out, I'm sorry.
There he goes.
Is he gone?
I was not staged, folks. I'm sorry.
Wow. My audio cuts out. I'm sorry, and then he's gone.
I'm sorry, and that's my cue.
Awesome. Well, anyway.
So with the Destiny 2 changes, do you guys feel like the game is going to come back? So there's a lot of people out there on Reddit, on Twitter, like me, right? So Leviathan dropped. I ran Leviathan with LMG members, ran it several times, got some people geared up, and then it just kind of fizzled out. Do you think there's enough content in there for Forsaken to be different than what the vanilla Destiny 2 was, or do you think it's going to be similar to what we saw with Leviathan Raid?
So interesting part about Forsaken is that the large content drop that has already come out is great. I would tell anyone that's left Destiny to come back just for that. Like I said, the random rolls alone, you'll scratch that itch for loot. As soon as you start getting a god roll weapon, everybody remembers that felt like in Destiny 1 when you got that roll on a gun. and that's back. That feeling is great. It's the driving force behind what we play. There's also expansions coming out throughout the year. Black Armory is the next one that's coming out. You basically go in and there's a forge of all these gunsmiths that create the most powerful weapons in the Destiny universe, and you're going in to hopefully get a piece of that. And so that's something to look forward to. Festival of the Lost is coming out, which was commonly referred to as Festival of the Cost, because there was some serious microtransactions tied to that back in D1. Hopefully, we'll see. Spooky Trials was also tied to Festival of the Lost. So usually Bungie does some cool stuff during the holidays, and that's at the end of the month here.
Mic check 1 2.
There he is. Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
We got some filler for you in there, so we've not
No, I appreciate it, guys.
stolen your thunder at all.
No. Actually, it kind of goes nicely with my whole segment here. Streaming can be an absolute bitch.
Yeah, it's funny that you said I may have some audio issues, and then you completely lost audio immediately.
Audio issues.
Yes, well, maybe it was staged, maybe it wasn't.
Ooh.
So basically, with my little corner here, these guys have graciously put me in the quote-unquote role of streaming guru. Not necessarily above anybody, but I think I've bashed my head against enough barriers, enough situations, and had to figure out enough things that I'd like to offer up any and all of my knowledge as well as any of my resources to any of you guys that are interested in content creation. That's ultimately kind of my goal here. And I also want to be kind of informative from the streaming side. I know that LMG has a lot of people that are interested in streaming. We have a lot of active streamers, and I love the idea of people doing that, contributing to the World Wide Web, whatever it is that they want to do, and I want to help with that. So ultimately, the news that I have to kind of cover, one of the big things about gaming on console versus PC, and I think Destiny is a good segue to this, is Destiny 2 launched on PC as well, significantly later, but there's a lot of people that are experiencing both the start on console and then moving over to PC. I know, Adam, you're one of those individuals as well. And first of all, I just want to kind of tie this into what I'm going into. How do you feel about the transition from controller to mouse and keyboard?
Are you talking to me specifically? Because I haven't done it.
Anybody.
I tried like hell and I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
I did this. I've done a couple Fortnite tournaments, but I practice a lot on the Xbox, and I can tell you, transitioning over to mouse and keyboard is completely different. It takes as many hours of practice as it took you to get good on the Xbox to get good on the mouse and keyboard to play competitively. But it's a lot more accurate once you get the gist of it. So,
yeah, I personally think it's a lot more fluid. I dumped 3,000 hours on Xbox for Destiny 1.
Oh, yes.
And then I dumped almost a third of that on Destiny 2 on console before PC came out. And I would honestly say that I can't go back.
Wow.
I can't go back. I tried playing Destiny with a controller on PC one time, and I had actually forgotten the buttons. So the situation with what's going on, and that kind of ties nicely into my first news segment here, is Xbox has officially announced, and it'll be rolling out soon with the alpha. What are they called?
Alpha tier preview program.
Yeah, they have several different kind of whatever. They're going to be supporting mouse and keyboard for console. So there's already a lot of red flags that kind of pop up about this. Console players typically get to enjoy the nice security blanket of aim assist significantly more than PC players. And with that, controllers don't have the luxury of the pinpoint precision that a high DPI mouse offers. So, both sides of that coin. So, kind of a little backstory here. But in 2015 at Gamescom, I believe it was Phil Spencer said that they were going to announce the imminent arrival of keyboard and mouse support on the controller. There had already been a large number of adapters that were being used. I know Dr. Lupo was a big streamer that used, I think it was the XIM, I believe that's what it's called.
Yes.
And it allowed his Xbox to recognize a mouse and keyboard as a controller. And so he was afforded the pinpoint accuracy and that high DPI options in his gameplay, and it was evident that it gave him an edge in the
upset
What was that, King?
people were upset about him using mouse and keyboard.
They were indeed.
Yeah. So Microsoft's been on board with trying to recognize this and offer it, and it's actually interesting. So the approach to using a mouse and keyboard is kind of more like a title by title basis, and it's also dependent upon if it's desired by the developer. I like this approach because they're throwing it in the developer, but they're also giving them a couple things that they need to make sure. They need to make sure that that the developers are keeping the games, and this is what they said: fun, fair, and correctly balanced. So correctly balanced is kind of an interesting term just because of, are they going to allow controller to play against PC? And I believe Spectator in the Battle Royale world, especially Fortnite, we're seeing a lot of that cross-play and the considerable play ability between controller versus keyboard and mouse, correct?
Yeah, it's actually caused a lot of issues with the Friday Night Fortnite tournaments, the summer Fortnite skirmishes, spring. Like there's professional gamers saying, I will not play in a tournament if they allow cross-platform mouse and keyboard on an Xbox.
Yeah, and then you got people like Adam who play on their cell phone and they just run into walls the whole time.
Those mobile players.
So here's the kind of what they're doing. Back in June, I believe there was a leak. I think it was Kotaku. I'm not 100% sure. And they said that full-fledged mouse integration was coming to the console, and they were actually they listed the amount of features, because you think of some of these gaming mice, there are a ton of buttons. I know there's a Razer one that has literally 20 buttons on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Adam's Orb Weaver. That thing's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. That's actually really cool looking too. So they listed some bullet points. So support up to a mouse with 5 buttons, wheel movement both horizontal and vertical. And I didn't quite understand the phrasing of this. The ability to query for mouse capabilities. I guess maybe that's being able to customize, like keybind.
Yeah. No, you must be able to keybind. Because query is a keyboard. So
does that mean I can run macros on my Xbox now?
Sounds.
That I don't know. I did look for that. I didn't see anything about that. And
I just want to Titan skate again, and that's the only way you can do it.
If you can get a controller or I guess a device, a mouse or a keyboard that can run a macro internally, but you can't use outside software because you're stuck with the console itself.
Yeah.
So it's merely just a handshake between the device and the console.
And that'd be the problem with Orb Weaver as well. I can't assign any keybinds.
Exactly. Yeah, because all that Logitech and Razer stuff is pretty customizable.
Yeah.
Another thing, ability to report absolute pointer location and the ability to report relative pointer movement. So that's dealing with the DPI and the finesse and the finer details of having a mouse. The ability to set cursor glyph invisibility. I believe that's maybe changing what your actual icon of your mouse is. A little bit more customization there. And then this is kind of interesting. They're going to install an API that kind of monitors all of this as it goes, because they're going to open this up to a lot of other manufacturers, third-party manufacturers, and they kind of want to see how people are using it. So anyway, I know I've been getting kind of smart. Yeah. It is. It's very smart, and it's like they're creaking the door open instead of just like launching it full wide and giving it to everybody. It's a slippery slope. I can see that being an issue.
Yes. Sir.
So a couple of things that people are concerned about beyond the fairness between console or controller and keyboard mouse is, are they going to start developing games that are only for keyboard and mouse? Because if they give the developers the option to choose, what if they choose exclusively? Then you're limiting content.
Yeah.
That's an interesting situation. So that's one thing to consider. So the games that they're going to be, Microsoft says it's working closely with studios of all sizes. So they're going to be trying to get big games, small games, and everything like that. One of the first games coming will be Warframe, and that originally started on PC, and it feels really comfortable with mouse and keyboard. So I know that they kind of, I personally haven't played the game, but I've heard some people say that the controller schematic for it is a little clunky.
Yeah.
Any of you guys have any experience with that?
I have it on PlayStation. I've gone pretty far in it on that side. The only issue, the only thing I can see that's geared more towards a mouse and keyboard is that you take Destiny and then you ramp up the speed of the game by 10 times, and that's Warframe. The game is so much faster just in everything, movement and what's happening, and that plays really well with a high DPI mouse and being able to move. And so that's the only thing I can see. It's just the speed of games. If you're going to have a slower like Destiny, it lends itself more to a controller play. Like your Call of Duties lend themselves more to controller play.
Yeah.
You don't need that super twitch movement. But then there's games like your BR games where if you're not playing mouse and keyboard on Fortnite, you're not going to do as well. That's just a fact. There's guys that are super good on consoles, but I imagine even an average PC person player could do pretty well in a lobby with console people.
There was that barrier is getting broken down, which I thought was pretty cool too. At the PAX West tournament for Fortnite, there was actually, I think, 13 of the 100 participants were console players, and they placed relatively high. So that bar is starting to get worked on, but I think it's because you've been forced to. You've got these games that allow cross-platform. I have to use my controller because I don't have a high-powered console, so I'm just gonna nerd rage, into my controller until I get good at it. But
yeah.
But they're starting out with a disadvantage, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. So ultimately, there's been a partnership with Razer. I believe when they kind of leaked this a little bit, there was already some Razer equipment, a line of Razer equipment kind of in place. Microsoft does say USB mice should work in accessories with wireless USB dongles. That means that the receiver of the wireless signal is in a USB form that plugs into the device. Okay, that should be Bluetooth though, and custom driver support will not be supported. So that means some keyboard types will kind of be limited with their connectability to it. Other than that, it's been pretty. They're expecting it's the Insider program, Adam. That's what I was trying to think of.
Insider, yes.
Yeah, the coming weeks. So I believe October, the Alpha Ring of the Insiders are going to start getting that support now. And are you in the Alpha Ring? I know you're an Insider.
I'm
Adam.
in the first ring of beta. No, I didn't make the Alpha Ring.
Oh, okay. Well, you should be getting it soon. Actually, I'm interested to see if you want to do a little spiel on that. That'd be pretty cool. Okay. And then they're expecting a broader load. I know that there's in Mexico City. There's going to be an Xbox event in November. So I would imagine that's a good place for them to announce that right before the holiday season, right before the optimal time for people to start getting their Christmas lists made. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it's interesting. Having experienced both console and PC now, I'm curious to see how this will go. And you guys got any last minute thoughts before I move on to my next chunk?
I think it's a good idea. I'm glad they finally did it.
I'm with you. I think it shows Microsoft is open to trying new things. And Sony has always kind of been like a stick in the mud when it comes to some of these things. Like they just recently budged on the crossplay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I wonder if this is a reaction to the crossplay because Fortnite's the number one game. Let's call it what it is, like it or not. So you got it on Xbox, you got it on PC, that's cross-platform. Now PS4 is in the mix, but now you have Xbox people that can use mouse and keyboard.
Oh, against the
players that can use mouse and keyboard. Mm-hmm. So now you got 66% of the player base using mouse and keyboard.
Suck it, Sony.
Yep.
Just saying, little backdoor there.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. I understand there's differences and there's going to be complications, but as a gamer in the gaming world, I like to see that these platforms are starting to play a little bit nicer with each other. I think it's better for everything.
I'm glad the community pressure's been out there so hard that with Bethesda especially, they've just been wrecking Sony over and over again about them not doing cross platform play. And then
they're not going to cross-platform on
Fallout, right?
Then they backpedal on Twitter. We didn't say it's not possible. We're just not focusing on it.
I love the way Xbox played that, by the way. I'm a Microsoft fanboy, but they're like, hey, we want to do cross-platform. It's right. Sony that doesn't want to do it. And then Sony had to play PR control for 6 months, and they finally budged on allowing it. I was like, Microsoft played that so well.
Oh, they did. Well,
yeah, they
Sony
did.
shot themselves in the foot with the Switch thing, too, with the Fortnite lockout.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh, whoopsie. Like, we know you can, and now you screwed us.
Yep. Yeah, because there's like a 3-hour window because Xbox can use like underscores and characters, but that's not allowed, I guess, on PS4 names. So people were playing Fortnite seeing PS4 gamer tags, and they're like, wait, like there was a system glitch where it allowed it for like 3 or 4 hours
Never
for
seen
people to
that.
play against each other. Yep.
It's cool to see gamers kind of, I know gamers through developers, through games and situations, but kind of cultivate and change this world into something that is a little bit more applicable for everybody. So it's kind of nice to see that. Well, I'm going to move on to my next group. If you're a Twitch streamer, you are familiar with what they were called communities, and those are no longer a thing. Communities were basically, if you were a partnered streamer or if you were able to create a community, you could get a gathering of other streamers to kind of join that community, and ultimately it was supposed to be something to kind of bring people together and kind of help them find viewers, find other viewers, other streamers, and visibility and stuff like that. However, what it appeared to turn into was just a big follow for follow kind of situation.
Yes.
A lot of people were just using it to try to better themselves visibility wise, but the only thing that was being seen were other streamers. And it wasn't really going in the direction that Twitch intended it to go. So what they did was they pulled that back. I think back in back in August they announced they're getting rid of those, and they've introduced a new tag and category system. So tags are very similar to if you are searching for something specific, you type in exactly what you're looking for, and it'll narrow it down for that. And streamers can attach these to their stream, and it can go as specific as if you're a hero main on one specific hero on League of Legends, you can say hero : that hero's name, and it'll actually tag that on your stream, and people can search by that. And I've seen it as broad as just competitive. So it's interesting to see how this is going, and it's actually kind of customizable with if you want to appeal to Twitch, you can actually appeal for a tag if you want to try to get one that's in there. It's interesting. I recommend streamers and viewers alike to go on and try it out. There's a little search bar at the top. Give it a little play. And I went on there the other day, and for about 30 minutes, I just typed in random words just to see what would work and what would pop up. And I was surprised with some of them. I mean, poop wasn't in there, neither was shizzle. But unfortunately, if you search for anything that's not a specific game or not a specific streamer, you should be able to find it.
Okay.
Is that fully implemented right now? So I was putting tags up, I think at one of my streams earlier this week, and it was only letting me use the pre-rendered ones.
Yes, there are some that it's kind of like what I read is they're kind of time gating some of these to see how these are kind of being. The streamers themselves can only apply certain number of tags. I know you can only apply up to 5 tags, and then the pool that you can pull these tags from is fairly limited now, and they're going to expand that soon.
Okay.
But the implementation is them trying to kind of put the toe in the water and test it, see how it goes. If you're a streamer and you're interested in doing that, you can find this stuff on your live dashboard, so you can apply that to your Twitch stream.
Okay.
Also, one thing that's going to be kind of interesting is Twitch has been trying to recommend. They've been going through your previous history of what you've watched, and they're recommending, and they're going to use this tags system as part of that as well. So they will be keeping track of what you search and kind of helping you recommend streamers to you, which is kind of a plus because one of the biggest things streamers were having problems with was visibility issues. Feeling like they were getting drowned out, especially the smaller ones at the bottom of these gaming channels, and especially like this will tie nicely into the next one, but with creative and some of the more broader categories, they've actually broken those up too. I believe they replaced the IRL and the creative categories with like 10 or 12 additional categories that are more specific. For instance, we should be in the podcast one and talk shows. They've added one specifically for different types of art, like whether it's metalwork, and then there's another one for body art, and there's another one for jewelry. I mean, they've really hashed out these different categories to kind of help guide viewers.
How about ASMR?
ASMR. I was gonna say that for last for Adam because I know he's super excited about that. But they do have a separate ASMR channel. So those of you that are tired of seeing these chickadees talking very softly into these really expensive microphones, you don't have to see it anymore if you don't want to.
You don't have to see Adam with his shirt off anymore, cracking beers and shaving his face.
Do you guys have anything you want to add about those or any questions?
No, I think it's a huge plus. You're 100% spot on with the communities and kind of what they turned into. There's never really true engagement. I think anybody that's growing a stream or trying to grow a stream, you need to look at how engaging is your community, how often do they stop by, and these follow for follow trains aren't really there. I think the hashtags will work, and I think it'll be interesting to see how Twitch implements them because they have to do something. They've switched up the some of the ways that they were helping smaller streamers. I believe the ad revenue has been messed with a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I definitely think the hashtags they've proven to work on YouTube, Twitch, or YouTube, Twitter, stuff like that. So I think it's a good thing.
So do you think that the economy is going to change at all, Poop Shizzle, with the bits and affiliates, like the number of affiliates that are approved? Will there be a lot more now, or will there be a lot less? Okay.
I think.
Good answer.
Speechless.
What do you think, Secretary?
I think they're trying really hard to invest in the smaller streamer right now. So I think there's going to be more affiliates approved now. I think it's going to show a huge turnaround once the system gets fixed and the algorithm gets messed with a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think about big guys like Dog, Ninja, and Shroud? I mean, what's going to happen to these dudes?
They're still going to get their share. I mean, they're big enough now where they can snowball. I mean, you have coffee companies investing in Shroud right now. Doritos is sponsored with Dr. Disrespect, so it's not necessarily like they need these companies or they don't need Twitch anymore. I mean, Ninja just launched a clothing line, and he's making a ton of money off of his clothing line.
Sponsored by Red Bull. That cat's a serious contender.
Yeah, I mean, he's estimated to make $585,000, and I highly doubt it's because of Twitch tags.
In a month.
Yeah.
That's per month.
Yeah.
So I highly doubt people, who's Ninja? Let me search the hashtag. So I think these bigger guys are now at the point where they're snowballing and they're going to continue to grow.
Yeah. Those big guys are so perpetual, like their momentum, unless they do some stupid stuff and dethrone themselves, they're sitting pretty right now, and they've got the corporate backing from some of these, like you said, coffee companies and clothing lines.
I don't even know of a big mess. I mean, you had the face of Twitch do something terrible, and he's like right back where he is now. So I don't even know.
Months off, and then now.
Yeah, he came back with like broke Twitch record.
$500,000.
Yeah, so it's like I don't even know if these people are so big now that screwing up doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I'll keep an eye on like the revenue stuff. I honestly don't think that they're gonna. If they start messing with the money too much, there'll be an upsurge. It'll be outrage, and I don't think they're ready to deal with that. So personally, I don't think they're going to be messing with that too much. It is something to keep an eye out for.
But I will add that if Amazon's going to do something with Twitch, now's the time to do it before Facebook gets their stuff going, before 100%. YouTube figures their crap out. If they're going to do something big to the revenue share, it's going to be now. It's not going to be in 3 or 4 months.
Do you see Facebook or YouTube Gaming or Mixer being ever any kind of competition for Twitch?
Actually, King, it's funny you say that because I was about to, in my last little nugget here, and then I'll hit on that. Dude, you get out of my brain. So I know Twitch is the primary source of what a lot of people get their content from. It's the big dog of live streaming platforms. But I don't want my whole section in this podcast or any of the things that I do to be totally Twitch centric. I want to explore these other platforms, and I want to reach out to any of the LMG streamers that are experimenting with other platforms. I know we got a couple mixers. I don't know of anybody that's doing Facebook. And King, to answer your question, I think Facebook has the pull, has the power, and definitely has the money to put into what I think they could be. The potential is there. They have all of the right ingredients. All eyes are on their implementation. Mm-hmm. Right now, I went on there just the other day. It's clunky. It felt really, really convoluted. I didn't understand the searching mechanism of trying to find streamers. More or less, they just give you a bunch of recommendations, which is the metric they're pulling from is very loose because number one, I haven't seen very many streamers on Facebook, and so they're just throwing the big dogs at me.
Sample size is small.
Yeah, exactly. I know that they've gone out and they've handpicked some streamers from Twitch. One of the biggest ones, like Darkness 429 or whatever that is. He's a big one, and there's a couple other ones that they've pulled out. I'm definitely interested in it, and I want to ask the community if anybody's doing that. Please keep me in the loop. Let me know what's going on. My little corner of this podcast is for the betterment of any and all content creators. I am not the end all be all of content creation. I would rather you bring a problem to me and we work together to solve it. So, because we all learn that way. And I'm going to leave you guys with this question because I know 3/4 of us stream pretty regularly, and I want to ask the community: why do you stream? Like, what is it that puts you in that chair, ready to push the button to go live? What is it that drives you to do that? Because that's a very interesting situation. And I want to know. I want to see if maybe we can help you out with that with this segment. So
it's really the multi-millions that I'm pulling in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my Twitch
fuel sponsor deals.
My Twitch check should be in the mail in about 6 years. So
Drake Diet Dr. Coke.
So, but anyway, yeah. If you guys have any questions for me or for the about streaming, Adam's about to go through all the socials. Make sure you guys answer the question, why do you stream there, and any and all questions you might have for me or any of these guys with streaming, please.
Did you guys hear Gary Vaynerchuk's response to the Facebook gaming stream?
No.
So somebody asked him, do you think Facebook could compete with Twitch? And his response was, what happened when Facebook couldn't compete with photos? They bought Instagram. When Facebook couldn't compete with live streaming, they bought Periscope. Right? They haven't bought a gaming platform, which means they think they can fix it. They think that they can make it happen. And I think that's really interesting. Competition breeds a perfect platform, and I think Twitch is mailing it in. They've been mailing it in. So we need Facebook or Mixer to step their game up so we can get a better overall experience.
Yes. Yeah, and then the thing is though, there's nothing out there that I'm aware of that would be purchasable by Facebook. Microsoft's not going to let that go. They already bought that from Beam.
Jeff Bezos isn't letting go of.
No, Twitch is tightly held.
And Amazon is not like exactly. So it's. I see your statement there, Secretary. But what are they going to buy? They're going to have to create this one. They're going to have to build it from the ground up. So that's different. Like you said, the MO is usually just go out and buy the biggest fish and make it their own, and incorporate it. So that's why I'm really curious about Facebook gaming.
Cool.
They could have offered. They could have put an offer in before Amazon $1.3 billion purchase.
I'm surprised YouTube gaming hasn't really launched off. I mean, how many people are watching YouTube? Like millions.
Yeah.
And talk about a platform to broadcast your game on.
It's a separate platform, though.
Yeah.
They just announced the merging process is going to be going underway in Q4 of this year, but you needed the YouTube gaming app to watch people stream on YouTube gaming. So it's not really a part of YouTube. It's like an umbrella subsidiary. So they're fixing it. They're working on it. It'll catch up.
If it could be more accessible, as easy as going to like youtube.com/Adam212, great. Like how easy would that be? Yeah. And talk about, like I said, accessible.
And that's what
YouTube is.
I think that's what Facebook should be.
Yeah,
I really do.
We'll see how it goes. On Facebook gaming, do you need a Facebook account to watch?
Yes.
See, that's the only limiting factor, I think, with everything that's been going on Facebook, with the 50 million accounts being hacked and all that. I'm starting to see, like, I myself am not on Facebook. I see other people not on Facebook. That's the only limiting factor I can see is how many people aren't on Facebook that are in the gaming.
We need a Snapchat gaming.
Twitter gaming.
Like every 30 seconds you lose the feed.
Yeah.
Snapchat needs to stop their stock market from crashing for
40 minutes and then it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
So King, are we playing Destiny a year from now? Are we still playing Destiny next year, this time?
I want to.
Good question.
It is a great question.
That is. Wow.
So if you asked, coming to all of you.
Yeah, if you asked me at the launch of Destiny 2, are we going to be playing this, 6 months from now? I would have been like, duh. obviously. And then that fell on its face. So I think with the success of Forsaken, I think it's wonderful. It's been getting great reviews. The next big update, which is going to be the Black Armory, is really going to set the tone for the longevity of Destiny as an IP. Really, from what I've seen so far, with the changes in the Dreaming City every week and the stuff that's just being found out, like these dungeons and the raid stuff, and I think the bones that the game has right now are great, sturdy bones. Now it's really up to Bungie. How much work have they been doing, and are they going to be partnering with the Last Wish raid? Are they going to be partnering with other studios to bring this content in and have stuff that is feasible enough for us to be playing a year from now? Because as we saw, Destiny 1 was humongous, giant game. Everybody said, "Oh, this is going to be a Destiny killer," and every game that came out as a Destiny killer fell on its face. Destiny 2 launches, a lot of hype around it, but then in 6 months, their player base was
a shell of a game.
It was so small, and so what that does to the confidence with the player base. Still a little shaky. A lot of your big streamers jumped ship and then still haven't fully come back. So like the Crafties and even the Gathalion Guardian Con. It's a huge name. He became a variety streamer and hasn't fully come back to Destiny.
No.
So it's interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. And how about you, Spectator? What's the Battle Royale game we're playing next year this time?
Blackout, man. Blackout's going to be the big one.
That's the one.
I've been curious. I think I said on stream in January this year, the AAA gaming industry is going to really help sculpt the future of Battle Royale. And having a game like Call of Duty that's got, so to speak, a cult following of players that are just going to buy the game because it says Call of Duty on it, that's going to really help it. And I think it's really promising to see one weekend already have the highest views, the average viewing of any game. So I think Blackout's going to be here to stay, especially if they can continue to change the map with their patch updates. And I'm very confident, but I'm biased. I've only ever played Black Ops. I don't like Modern Warfare. I didn't like any of the other adaptations, so it'll be interesting. I think it's Blackout for sure.
Okay, very good. Blue Chisel.
Yes, sir.
Does ASMR die?
Not if you're at the helm, buddy. You know what? ASMR is ASMR. In the world of content creation, I got to respect it and give it its place. The pageantry that's sometimes associated with it aside, it gets a little interesting. But I'm happy that it's got its own little niche in the Twitch community.
Do we see more medically driven or psychologically driven streams coming out after that? Does it open a doorway to self-help, mental rehab?
Honestly, Adam, I think there's a lot of that already in place. Depending on your personal health, you probably don't or are not aware of it. Those of you that might be searching for it are probably more. I know, like, there's Discords that are completely 24/7 associated with like suicide prevention, depression management, stuff like that. The only thing that I have against one person using their channel to do that is they're not a doctor.
Right.
They're not a trained professional. They're not skilled in the really nitty-gritty, dirty, hard parts that come with some of the extreme situation. And that's a dangerous position to put yourself in as a viewer as well as a content creator.
Yeah, sure.
So I would love to see people helping people. I love to see that. That's great as long as the intentions are noble, but you got to be careful. There's a point where if you're not trained, you need to hand it off to somebody who is.
Very good.
That's a slippery slope as well. Is a streamer is not a psychiatrist. They're not a medical professional. Don't go into a stream and taking their word for gospel, because it's dangerous and it more than likely is incorrect. I mean, if someone has I know there's a couple streamers out there that do like mental health streams where they talk and everyone kind of shares their experiences. But as good as that does, if someone's really suffering from a medical or a mental issue or syndrome, you shouldn't be trying. That's like going online and looking at WebMD to try and diagnose yourself. Like, I think you'll find more misinformation than useful information.
Good point.
Absolutely, right. I agree.
Fantastic stream tonight, guys. I appreciate y'all coming out. I love the new group. We're going to have a great time with it.
We love you.
Thank you to all the viewers, most importantly, for coming out and watching us, coming out and hanging out, chatting with us, doing all that sort of thing. You can look for us on iTunes and Spotify coming up shortly. And, of course, we're all members of the League of Mature Gamers. You can find them at lmgamers.net. If you're looking around and you're 18 and you want to play with people that don't talk about your mama, come on over and come play with us, because that's what we do. I mean, we still kind of talk about your mama.
Yeah, let's say.
It'll be a little bit softer. Yeah. Or it'll be factual information, because your mom is a hoe. You can, so the website's www.lmgamers.net. You can find us on Twitter at L_M_gamers. We like underscores here at LMG because we are under the radar. No, we're not. You can find League of Mature Gamers on YouTube. You can find them on Facebook, Twitch, LMGamers_TV. We have a Discord server. If you go to the website, you can join up there, get access into there. I'd like to thank Solid Scorpion Z for starting the podcast, the wonderful Flaming Chode for hosting this and making it what it is today, and really creating something we can be proud of. And I hope that I can take that over and and make him proud of me. So, everyone, thank you for stopping by. Tell us where you're from, Sectator Gaming, how we can find you.
Yeah, it's Sectator Gaming everything, no underscores, no nothing, on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So you can find me there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about 10 p.m. Eastern Time until we all fall asleep.
Cool. Mr. King.
You can find me on the battlefields of Destiny. I would love to have you come out and try and 1v1 me. I can be found at LMG Space King on Xbox. Also find me on the Discord server of LM Gamers. Come by, tell me how much you think you're good.
No, very good. Poop Shizzle.
You guys can find me Twitch, Twitter, Xbox, PSN, Poop Shizzle. Pretty straightforward. Underscores aside.
Very good.
MySpace.
Only Tom
Yeah,
has it.
Tom.
Only Tom has one.
Yeah, Tom's my best friend.
I love it. All right, everyone. One moment here. Make sure to swing by the website. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on iTunes, and we'll see you in 1 week. We'll be here next Wednesday, the 10th of October, to broadcast for you again. Lots more information, lots more cool stuff, and we appreciate you stopping by. Until then, keep leveling, stay grinding, and remember to press F to pay respects. All right, guys. Good night.